You are welcome to the Mirror TV. We offer you news, local, national, and international, on politics, religious, and socio-cultural events, project work documentary, live documentary, and lot more. Contact us today and do not forget to subscribe to our channel so as to get our updates on daily basis. 64th Independence Day of Nigeria. Rev.Dr. Abraham Nwali, Chairman, Christian Association of Nigeria Southeast, speaking on the state of the nation, Nigeria.
October 1, Nigeria as a nation will be 64. For me, I'll look at it from several perspectives. The first is the joy of independence. If you were once held in custody, you will know that to be free is a gift. So, not mindful of all that is happening, as a nation, we are grateful to God because we are an independent nation. The power and the challenges of colonialism may not be well understood by a Nigerian who never traveled overseas. If you travel overseas, like most of us that studied there and lived there for a couple of years, you will see what other African countries, the East Africans, some of the countries are passing through because they want their independence. They are still colonized by the French nation. So that's why I said, looking at that perspective, we're grateful because as a nation, we're independent. Secondly, we're grateful as a nation because we're highly blessed. When you travel overseas and listen to the products, Nigerians, their endeavors in their various fields of life, you'll be proud that you are Nigerian. The potentials we have, I'll give a few examples. If you go to Canada and go to Australia, if you aggregate the doctors, the professional medical practitioners, they are Nigerians. And they're doing pretty very well. If you go to most foreign universities in Europe, especially United Kingdom, you will find that of all the African nations, the greatest of them in number are Nigerians. And they're doing pretty very well. You see, so that anytime you hear an outstanding result for first class in engineering, first class as a mayor, first class a legal luminary, first class as a medical practitioner, first class as lab scientist, first class ICT, things show a sign of growth for that nation. And so we're grateful. When I schooled overseas in the late 90s, down to 2006, they respected us very heavily because when they came to class, they noticed there was a difference by being a Nigerian. They said that this giant of Africa. And they made scholars. We interfaced with some of them and we speak the languages with them. We are highly respected. Again, if you come to Nigeria, we are blessed because of our culture. We are multicultural nation. And for other nations in the West, in Europe, they see us as highly gifted. Today we still have our costumes, we have artifacts. These are beauty of our nation. We thank God because of the mineral resources. If you go to places, for example, like Israel, they have nothing. Today, Israel is feeding the world with agricultural produce out of irrigation. And they're supplying water to Europe from the desert. England has no mineral resources. They live on taxation and expertise in professionalism like in the area of education. Italy has no mineral. But Nigeria, every state today will be boasting of one natural resources or the other. We are highly gifted of lead, tangerine, kerosene, gold, zinc. These are things that are there, including the oil. And For decades they have been there, and we do not know how long they will be till several generations to come. These are sources of blessing. We also thank God because of religion. Nigeria is one nation that is unique. When you see the Christendom, you almost be seen everywhere, even though we are not perfect. But I say I prefer multiplicity of denominations of Christendom than Satanism. Spending time building all these occultic practices and living by cultism. And today, the young ones are degrading themselves into idolatrous worship. However, with all these blessings, we cannot overlook the fact that the country is stretched. We are stretched because our leaders failed to do what they should have done fundamentally. I make bold to say it everywhere. Any nation that invests in infrastructure is building a lasting legacy. No nation of all these developed nations and third world ever grew without infrastructure. For example, what the presidency is doing infrastructurally now, if that tempo can be maintained in the geographical zones, and we're having the trans-coastal region and the introduction of trains and metro trains and flights and permission for people to have private flights and stay to fly, there is hope that in the next 20 years, Nigeria will be infrastructurally fit to compete with any developing nation. That's an applause. Because you look at Dubai, it grew fast because of infrastructure. You look at Kuwait, it grew fast because of infrastructure. You look at today, even those at our doorpost here, Qatar, it grew fast because of infrastructure. Indonesia, Mali. So if we continue in this tempo, I would say kudos to our minister, His Excellency, our dear Minister, David Umezumai, because he has been able to show Nigeria that we can make a difference if we have the political will and the engineering ingenuity. But it will not be fair if we do not highlight some lapses where we fail to pay attention on time. And that is one, employment opportunities. What Nigeria needs to tackle now, after infrastructure, is to create an enabling environment for employment. Annually, America begins to announce the percentage increment of the employment opportunity for each year. We have no that at all. I'm a great believer of hard work. Instead of palliative, we should construct companies in all the regions. We should create serious mechanized farming in all the regions. We should go on industrialization and PPP, private partnership, so that every region should tell us in the budget, the presidential budget for Nigeria, the expected percentage increment in employment. I'm sure if we are, as they say, almost getting to 300 million as Nigerians, our youth will be above 100 million and over 60 million will be unemployed. So if we create an opportunity where within a space of 3, 4, 5 years, we're expecting an employment opportunity of 30 million youth, I assure you we'll be moving aright. What the country should concentrate immediately after infrastructure is creating an enabling environment for employment. Factories, companies, institutions, and mechanized farming. I would say kudos to Nigeria. That's something that helped Europe and the West to come out after the Second World War that Nigeria has started, and the students' loan. Many of our professors today all over the world all went through students' loan. And if we have 1 million Nigerians outside studying today, over 600 of them are living on loan. 600,000. So with this student's loan, there is opportunity even for an orphan to know I can become a graduate. That's a good introduction. But because of our background, many of the students are still scared to go for the loan. They do not know how they will pay. But in America, once you obtain a government loan, as soon as you finish study, you'll be employed. So from there, that loan will be offset. When that is made available, many will rush to it. Today, because of the announcement of increment of the stipends for corpers to 77,000, those who didn't do their clearance are borrowing to clear, so that they will go and they'll be better paid. From 33 to 77, one told me, Father, if you can help me do my clearance, when I get there, I will pay you because I have hope. So you see how a little light can bring light hope. There are areas we have great challenges, but for me, they are man-made. Insecurity. If we have these employment opportunities granted, most of our youth will be completely off, and this insecurity problem will cease. A good number of them out of hunger, unemployment, and no alternative to life. Today, the society has been extraordinarily negatively challenged in security. We have gone beyond human trafficking. They are now talking about sales of human parts. And they have gone beyond that into kidnapping. And they have advanced into ritualism. And now they are talking about parental ritualism, where they give their parents. So the youth are sacrificing their siblings, their parents. And parents are planning to kidnap their children on the cheat of either of the parties because of poverty. So that area of insecurity can be managed and reduced drastically if we improve on the area of employment opportunities. Two, there are things the government can do. Create an enabling environment. This oil subsidy we are talking, removal or no removal, is no issue. What they do is allow people, even offshore refineries. Dangote has opened one. Allow him to buy the crude oil in Naira and to sell in Naira. If that is done drastically, the fuel will come down to less than 900 in a month. How can he buy the crude oil in dollars, refine, and sell to NNPC? And NNPC will negotiate. It should be an open market, competitive. They buy directly from the refinery. I assure you, if the presidency, in his political will, demonstrate that courage to ask Dangote sell to the open market, NNPC will repair their own refineries immediately. And when that heady competition is created, I have no fear in 2-3 months, fuel will get down to 800 per liter. But to buy crude oil in dollars, refine and sell in dollars, and do the conversion, who has ever done that? Why do we have our national currency as our national economic image? That is the area we have to look at. The area of alternative power will bring down the issue of increase in VAT and tariff for EEDC. Till tomorrow, I have a deep respect for our former president, Olusegun Obasanjo, for the introduction of MTN. Today, we have a handful. There is competition between Glo, Airtel, MTN, and the rest of them. So if we have the same competition in the area of power, this colonization of EEDC will come to there. Smartly is coming. Some are living on solar, and people are beginning to generate energy now with water. And very soon, our young lads are working on electrolytes. The alternative. Innocent has done pretty well. Today, we are looking forward, before the end of the year, for the showcase of electric cars in Nigeria. The showcase of solar KKs. The showcase of motorbikes on water. So when we have these diversifications, things will come down. We only need an enabling environment where we create that opportunity and reducing this issue of security. The next area that calls for the attention of our country immediately is the review of the Constitution. Our Constitution has reached the stage that it requires a review, moral courage, because of science, because of development, because of population, and because of the climate weather and international global community. So that all will feel free that they belong. The Constitution seems to be shrinking some, and people are bursting like a hot water. We need to give the Constitution mega power for the autonomy of the judiciary. We should go above trying to influence the Supreme Court. That should be the power of the common man. No influence at all. They should have that constitutional backup, being shrouded with the magnitude of the supremacy of the Supreme Court. Once we lose hope in the judiciary, we are people that actually were not free and were not independent. We also should look at the area the presidency is making advancement. The issue of the local government autonomy. That will create Nigeria a democratic institution. Because it is no longer at the whims and caprices of few Democrats. It is the choice of the people. So when elections are being conducted by a NEC, it is no longer boxed by EPSEC. No, it's no longer the state NEC. No, it is INEC, International Independent Electoral Commission. That will give ample opportunity for other parties to heavily compete in a democratic environment. That's the time we begin to elect a dependable, reliable, good man as a chairman, who will be free to give the dividends to democracy at the grassroots without being fear of being policed or mortgaged, because for you to remove him, you have to go back to the Supreme Court. That is the area of credit. It also requires the area too of the financial autonomy. Whoever gives you bread dictates your movement. And so if the federal government should allow the local government to have that autonomy, they will be accountable to them. If we say we don't try the local government, we don't trust them, who then should be trusted? If you don't trust your house, your husband, your wife, your children, you need to trust a foreigner. So that trust will be built. The best person to develop his place is the person coming from that community. And if he does that, they are the very people that EFCC should go after. What am I saying after all? We have not found a solution to our economic problem. The issue of the continual increment in dollar, for me, the consequence of it is we have nothing to market. No export. We are importing everything, including toothpick. Therefore, the government is challenged to create an enabling environment for local factories. So when we market, look at Malaysia here, palms has given them the honor. In the past, we used to have a lot of exportation of cocoa through Cross River, Calabar. A lot of exportation coal through Enugu. Even product. Today, the only thing we export are human endowment, mental potentials. Our people, medical practitioners, nurses, lab scientists, and engineers, that are being exported. And they're doing very well in their various field sectors. So to sum it up, we are grateful that we are independent. We are grateful for all the blessings of God. We are grateful because we are a surviving nation. But the country should look more inwardly and face infrastructure. Continue in this beat. Take the courage to create opportunities for employment of our youth. Yes, government is no manager of any business. Government can build factories, industries, and lease them out on PPP and employ people. Government can embark on all these great state lands and work on mechanized farming. Government can take all these our youths who are students and graduates and postgraduates of agric sciences and say them, we mandate you to give us food on our table. So when they do this, I say, well, beware. We are a very enduring nation. To talk from my perspective as a man of God, I think we have offended God greatly as a people. Look at the level of banditry. Look at the level of the selling of the human parts. Look at the level of ritualism. Look at the level of idolatry. So when you see all this crime, you say, probably what we are passing through is that of chastisement. He said, if you forget me, my people, I will remind you that I am your God. Exodus chapter 20 said, I am the God. You must worship me with all your heart, with all your strength, with all your soul, with all your will. For I am a jealous God. So we have failed. We have to come back to God. Look at, in Europe, people coexist. We have coexisted for decades. That I am a Christian and this person is a Muslim and this person is a traditionalist. It's just a matter of where you found yourself. If my parents were Muslim, I could have been a Muslim. So where you find yourself. But what is important is our relationship. So I believe in ecumenism. I believe in interreligious dialogue. We can coexist. But this idea where you see the other person as a do or die affair, our ancestors lived together, interfaced their hand. What of India? They have their Hinduism, they have also Buddhism, and they are all living. Look at China, they go around these idols, they are all living. America is almost worshipping nothing now. They're almost worshipping nothing. Sometimes they move to dogs, they move to water, they talk about gay, they talk about same sex, they now talk about robotism, they are now not talking about self-made. So they are finished. So we need to come together as a nation. So this is a country that has all it takes. I'll be asking them the review of the Constitution as a layman, a man of God. There's a particular clause there that is challenging this country. That is our mineral deposit being in the exclusive list. No state has the power and right to man her mineral deposits. And that is the beginning of our problem. When that is removed in the exclusive list, the poorest of the states like Zamfara and the Ebonyi state will be the richest of the states of Nigeria, with Ebonyi 36 mineral. The richest man in Ebonyi is the poorest man in Anambra. So we need to work. So if they remove natural gifts, natural endowment from the exclusive list, they will begin to grow. I am also a philosopher of federalism. We need the federated states of Nigeria, where the states run a little bit of independence. There's no need to keep running to the center. Rather, we contribute to sustain the center. That's where we have the United States of America. And it will make the governors to stand up. So where you know you are not going to budget to collect allocation, but you have a power to develop your mineral resources, then they will create wealth. In difficulty, the mind is challenged and human creativity becomes alert. So the oil has made us lazy. Every time you are looking at Abuja. So I said, allow the owners of the oil to have it. Let's go back to our natural resources. Sustain the center through the states. The richest state today is New York. It's richer than Washington, D.C., the seat of America, the White House. Because they live in the United States of America. Those in Chicago and Illinois do not even know what's happening in Indianapolis. In the southeast, if they do it, Anambra becomes one of the richest states of industrialization. Just look at the ingenuity alone in Nnewi. So, yes, the cup may be half empty, but the cup is also half full. We have reasons to thank God. We have our mistakes, but we can do something. So I am bacon on the presidency. as we celebrate our 64 years. While we remain grateful to God, courage, industrialization, courage, employment opportunity, courage, mechanized farming, courage, continuity in infrastructure, courage, student loans and grants, courage, opportunities for further studies, courage, tapping our resources, courage, removing mineral deposits and natural resources from the exclusive list. When these are done, I look forward to a better independent nation. But I am proud to be a Nigerian, and I'm grateful to God for our independence.
The Pro-Chancellor of Mbam State University, Dr. Abraham Nwali, equally speak on the age rate for admitting a student into a tertiary institution and other issues that borders on education.
And I was at Abuja when that issue of a 10-year issue was raised. We were there in Lagos on a national meeting, and we invited the director of JAMB. And it came to a point where they challenged a Nigerian in New York, in overseas, who was 15 years to do a degree. And then we came to realize that education is not all about book. It requires maturity. It requires experience. There is something that some of our parents are doing now that was not done in the past. Jumping classes. Pre-nursery, nursery 2, nursery 3, primary 1, primary 5, complete, JS1, JS3, SS1, SS2, you take WAEC and jump. It's not just all of our education. We discovered something very recently in the educational platform. There is what we call network quotient. The quotients of the age of these children now is higher than that of the past. We had a child of 4 months that recited the 36 states and capital. Months. 4 months. I have the information in my WhatsApp here. We have a child of 4 years writing and reading now. We have a child of 12 years that can discuss with anybody, including world leaders. They are all there. We have all that information. They discover that because of these, what they work on, cartoons, children at the age of 2, their brain is higher than the advanced ones in our 70s. You watch your siblings and your little ones in the house. The areas they know about this your phone, the owner has not accessed it. And the channels they are able to tune in the television, where they can make their choice of cartoons. You, the father, does not even know the remote. Your remote has that opportunities. And so we said, why these children are very smart? Because of the environment and the ICT and technology and the weather. We're feeding them today with chemicals, and they're growing very fast, both in the brain. Today, there is a food they have that contains coconut. When you give it to a growing child, that growing child will think ahead of a child of 18 years. So we said, no, unless these children are smart in education, they should wait for age. That age is also a master planner, because experience matters. It was on that they said, no university should accept a child that is still below puberty to be an undergraduate. Let them grow. Once they have that experience, it will help them a little. Now, the other one about our educational system, the curriculum, I want to just be frank to you. Overseas where I schooled, government does not do anything with education. They do what they call grant of subventions and supervision. Educations are left in the hands of private entrepreneurs and religious bodies. I'll give you 2 examples. In Rome today, no institution is manned by the government. They are all by the churches and private institutions. In US, the same. Speedily. So this idea that the government owns public schools, we cannot manage. It may hurt you and hurt even the presidency. The government is spending so much on infrastructure. But I give them something because of our educational knowledge acquisition in Europe. Education is built on 3 legs. 1, infrastructure. The government has scored over 100% of that. We have more infrastructure in government institutions than in private or religious institutions. 2, quality teachers. Government has scored over 100% of that. The government has more qualified teachers in our public schools than in private or religious institutes. But 3, quality supervision. Government has below 0. You can't have education without supervision. And so the private ones and the religious bodies are getting 100% in that area, where they monitor the children, they follow the bomber to bomber, and so they do that. So government should spend more money, time, and energy in our supervisions. Go to our public schools in the whole country, outside tertiary institutions. Our primaries and secondaries, they are not being supervised. And so there is a mass exodus out in SS2. You see stampede. They will be looking for greener pastures where they can succeed in their work. There is also another clause in that curriculum that is not very wonderful. The idea that you do not repeat a class. In the past, if a child does not perform well, you step that child down. Even in the church here, I have my own. I said, if you fail, you must pass through, listen until you pass that class before you can go. Otherwise, withdraw your child. So government should make policies that will help to checkmate our educational lapses. Today, we give political appointments for commissioner for education, minister for education. Look for experts, those right in the field. Look for the zonal directors, ZDIE, national director, federations, all these people who have been in the education system, who will help us. Don't give political appointment to these areas of professionalism. It affects us. Today, shocking enough, most of the great public servants would not prefer their children to go to any public school. They will either go for private or religious. If you want to be serious, the government at the federal level and state level should give it as a law. All public officers must send their children to school in their villages. Then you see about it. So we have a lot of challenges, but I said Rome was not built in a day. When we take care of the essentials, the basic infrastructure, the security, enabling environment, employment opportunities, students' loan, harnessing of our resources, removing this from exclusive list, making them federated states, independent states of Nigeria, gradually we'll take care of that. In the Southeast, for example, the most rich and enterprising state in education is Anambra. Take any slightest opportunities, you see their children excelling because they invest in education. We pray that our present government, especially in Ebonyi State, will also invest there. But our public schools are dying.
And as we keep updating you in news reportage and lots more, please don't forget to subscribe now and drop your comments below. Benita Olise, The Mirror TV. You can call us on 08165191946. I take that again. Call us now on 08165191946 for your products or business adverts, live documentary, project works, or social cultural events. The Mirror TV, we stand to give you the best.